family, food, coffee and culture. A taste of Napoli here in Kent, the Garden of England. We're at Nonna Cappuccini's in Sevenoaks, a family-run deli owned by British Italians with ties to Campania. Join us for their story and the family's connection with four-time Serie A champions Napoli. It's Destination Kent on Destination Calcio. We are here in Sevenoaks with Francesco and Stefano, two massive Napoli fans. It's in the family, and we're going to find out a little bit about how they've developed their love for calcio and, of course, their affiliation with Napoli. A little bit of the family background. Nonna Cappuccini's. And as you'll see, they've even given us a couple of cappuccini right now with the Napoli N on there. We've got the mocha, we've got espressos coming, so stick with us and let's get to it. Stefano, give us a little bit of an insight into your life here. You run this place with your brother.
Absolutely.
And you've got a massive affiliate. We've got lots of... Actually, we met the first time because I saw the Napoli stuff. The other Napoli mocha you've got inside. We'll go inside a bit later. Yeah. But give us a little bit of an insight into the family, and you've got the Maglione right there. So let's hear from you.
So my dad started running this coffee shop about 17 years ago. I mean, my eldest brother, Riccardo, he's not here anymore, but he started it with my dad. He came more or less straight away. Francesco, he went off and done chef in college. Yeah. He came in and became the chef. I tried to do my own thing. Didn't want to get into the family business, but I ended up coming and joining as well. Yeah, they pulled me back in. But yeah, I was only probably about 15, working weekends, and then as soon as I left school, I was here full time. And then we just developed such a love for it that when my dad decided he wasn't ready, he didn't want to do it anymore, he and Francesco stepped up.
And this is Francesco over here. You've got the Argentina edition on here. I'm going to hand you the mic.
I don't remember what year it was. I think it was this 2019?
About the end of 2020. So you're the older brother.
I'm in the middle, but I'm older than Stefano.
Older than Steph. And so how did you develop the love for Napoli? Obviously, it came from up above.
Yeah, I think it was cooking with Nonna at first. Like you get the Italian way, like from Naples. Football and that Italian culture and cooking, it just all come together. Just a huge...
There's a little bit of a Neapolitan influence in... we're in England, so obviously there's an English market here for food, but I know that you've got cannolis in there and other Italian goods. Is that something that maybe someone... Did your dad, Claudio, bring those in, or...?
He did change the menu. When he came in, he changed the menu, and then since I've taken over with Steph, we've changed it again and made it more... like leaning more to the Italian side.
Because when my dad first came in, it was just a delicatessen.
Yeah.
And he changed it into that whole coffee shop scenery type of thing and that Naples like homely sort of place. And then when we took over, we changed it again to make it even more authentic.
Yeah. I think it's so great that it's a family-owned, operated place, and we
People love that.
People love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. That's why we come in. I would just mention this weird-looking Napoli kit is the coffee-themed one that they've just released. So it goes with these two cappuccini here.
Beautiful.
It's the beautiful chocolate coffee colour. And just going back to the stuff that you guys make, any chance of doing a Lukaku cake or a McTominay muffin or something like that?
It's going to happen. McFratama.
Something coming this season for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe copy that McFratama pizza they're doing in Naples at the moment.
Yeah, with the haggis.
Yeah, with the white sauce. Yeah, that's something that could happen.
Brilliant. And so I know that you went a couple of years ago when Napoli won their third Scudetto. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was amazing. For me, that was the first time I saw them win the cup. Because obviously Maradona days, I weren't around then.
And it was pre-McFratma.
Yeah, it was. It was Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia running things. That duo was just devastating that season.
Different team, Spalletti there.
Yeah, it was totally different. And going out there, we went for the final home game of the season. Obviously, we had already won it because I think in January...
It was against Sampdoria, wasn't it? Quagliarella was saying goodbye for Samp, and it was just a formality.
Yeah. We was 20 points clear, I think, in January or something like that. So we knew he was going to win it, but being there for that final game when everyone was just celebrating... it's just a memory you'll never forget. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant because also you guys, your bloodline stems from Campania, the region there. And I know that it's not proper central Napoli, but it doesn't matter because...
No, but yeah, that's the main city around there. Benevento's closer to my dad's house, but Napoli's the team that we've always followed. Yeah.
I mean, I've got no relation to any Neapolitans, and I've been following Napoli
Yeah.
since I was a kid. So you don't have to be from Napoli.
No, yeah, of course.
A lot of our fans, they're from everywhere. It could be. I met some from New York. I've seen some from all through the Middle East, and it's so brilliant to see.
There's fans everywhere.
Yeah.
There's loads of fans in South America because obviously probably the Maradona connection, but yeah.
Well, the Maradona connection's always been there, but do you think that now with this new generation they're going to maybe develop another love that might stem for another 30, 40 years with the McTominays and the Lukakus?
I do think so, yeah, 100%.
We've got new fans in Scotland now that we never
Yeah.
had before. Yeah. We're just growing as a club.
The Scottish, they love culture in general. They love
Yeah.
Italian football because it's not English, but they've always got that affiliation with
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
being, a little bit anti-English, the Scottish and the Irish, and that's why
there's
we've got
always
such
that
a big
rivalry.
There's the rivalry.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's good to see that they love their Italian football, and we've met so many that know so much about the 90s, the noughties, they go back, and now we've got all those Scottish players.
I remember as a kid, Channel 4, they used to do that Football Italia, it was like the highlights on the weekend. And I used to watch that with my nonno. He was actually a Milan fan. He was from Foggia, but he was a Milan fan.
Same colours.
Yeah, so yeah, I used to watch that. And just the players back then in the 90s was just unbelievable that they had in Italy. It was like all the greats were playing in Italy.
Do you think it's the best ever period of football anywhere ever was the
100%.
90s?
100%.
You had like Zidane, Ronaldinho at Milan. Zidane was at Juventus for a while.
Your Baggios,
Maldini.
your Battistutas.
Yes.
Totti even started coming through in the mid-90s, and the
Yeah.
Cannavaros and those Napoli
Was
sides.
Pirlo there at that time?
Pirlo started late
Yeah.
90s, yeah.
Where did he start?
Another great player.
He was owned by Inter, but they wouldn't give him a chance.
Yeah.
Same old story with the youth. And so they sent him to, I think he went to Regina in Calabria, then he went to Brescia,
Yeah.
and that's where he formed that. That's where Mazzone, the
playmaker.
coach, made him a playmaker as
Yeah.
a striker. I remember he came to Australia, played for the Italian Olympic side.
He just
I think
controlled that role, didn't he? He just dominated.
And then they put him back, they put him deep, and then that was the end. And that,
Yeah.
Italy
It
won a
looked
World
so
Cup.
effortless, didn't it?
Italy won a World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I find that so crazy when players don't blossom in one team, and then it's a bit like Scott McTominay at Man United.
Same thing, yeah.
I didn't even. My girlfriend, she supports Man United, so every Sunday if there's a Man United
Yeah.
game on, I'm always watching it. Been watching it for years. Seen Scott on the. I've never taken note of him, and then when he went to Naples, I was like, oh yeah, he's a Premier League player. He's going to be okay. Just went there and changed his
I think that
whole.
was Conte though.
It was
Conte
just incredible.
Made him in the right
Just
place.
incredible.
Gave him the confidence to go forward more. Didn't play him so defensive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it just
I think they're able to harness the strengths and develop them in Italy because
Yeah.
the Italian coaches, even if Serie A isn't known as the strongest league or the fanciest league anymore, the coaching, I think, is second to none.
Yeah.
And that's why they can go and maybe take someone that's from, whether they're from the Premier League, they come to Italy, or whether they come from Belgium or
Yeah.
Romania, it doesn't really matter. They're able to get the best out of
best
them
out
Yeah.
of them.
and try and maximise the potential.
That was like Mertens. Mertens was a great player at Napoli, but I couldn't see him fitting into a Premier League team.
I
be
think that
honest.
also comes with how much Napoli as a city makes people feel welcome as well. Like Scott McTominay went to Naples and he's now like a Neapolitan. They treat him like
And
a
that's like
Neapolitan. They
Mertens
don't
as
treat
well.
him like an outsider. Same with
Mertens
Mertens.
is called Ciro.
Ciro,
Yeah, it's crazy.
He took on the Neapolitan name, yeah.
And he
It's
loves
just
it. He goes
amazing.
back there all the time.
Yeah.
And when they leave, they cry when
Yeah,
they leave.
of course.
Kvaratskhelia was like, I'm leaving to go to
leaving.
Paris, but
And he went on to do so well with Paris. Like they won everything last year, but I still think he could come back to Naples in the future. You never know. Quite to say.
I mean, look, they won the Scudetto without him, didn't they? So
We don't need him.
we don't need him. But
maybe for
yeah,
Champions League, he could be good off the bench.
we'll
but,
see what De Bruyne can do with that.
De Bruyne's going to be
He might help us
so
get
good
there.
as a playmaker.
I think De Bruyne will be fine in the league because the league's a little bit slower than the Premier League. And now that he's at the older age, like Modric going to Milan, I think they'll still do their playmaker business they need to do, but Champions League's going to be tough.
It's just about man management by the coaches, and we all know Conte knows what he's doing. Allegri knows what he's doing with
Players
Modric.
fit.
And how do you see it going, Champions League for Napoli? Now that they've won that Scudetto, I mean, we all remember when they had that magnificent run 2-3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
They made the quarters, lost to Milan, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
then they were actually tipped by many. They were the favourites after they annihilated Liverpool that season, but then they just couldn't get past Milan. It was a psychological
Yeah.
element, wasn't it? And
That's exactly what it was.
I really think they can do well in the Champions League. Really do.
We'll see what group we get in, and
Yeah, it obviously all depends on the path.
Yeah, it's the path, because now there's that one big group, but then you're given 8 opponents, or you
Yeah.
play 8 games, so you get 7 opponents, and then it's that point system, and then the
that's the
classification
first
to
time
get
last
through
year,
is a
yeah.
brand new Champions League from last season, and it's going to be interesting because they've reinforced with a few other players as well. They've got Milinkovic-Savic as
yeah, I think they made 8 signings, 8 or 9 new players.
they might need to make another one because Lukaku's got a high-grade tear, so he's out for 3 months now.
Really?
Saw that, yeah.
But they do have Lorenzo Luca up forward.
Yeah, Luca looks good.
yeah.
A couple of goals pre-season. I saw this morning they're looking at Xerxes as a striker.
Bit of Man United. I know we've got a few United supporters in our midst, and what
I
do
feel
you
like
think
someone like Kolo Muani could do well as a striker in that.
Yeah,
I don't think Juventus would. Is he still at Juventus?
on the verge, but I think that he's too expensive for De Laurentiis because they want 55 mil at PSG.
Yeah. I would have liked that Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah.
Could have been good. He's a goal scorer. Out and out goal scorer.
They do have some other strikers that have been playing in between Serie B.
Here he is, Claudio is here.
Here he is, Claudio. He's the man that's been running this show for so long before he's... Here we go, a couple of espresso. Yeah, Claudio, good to see you here. You've got your Napoli kit on. You just got back from Naples.
Yes, it's been amazing.
And so how long were you there for?
Just over a week.
And what did you get up to over there?
Well, the usual,
Bit of sun and food and-
Beads, sun,
Take the mic.
all the usual, you know.
And so you're the man that's handed down this lineage, the love of
establishment.
Napoli. Well, the amazing establishment,
Yeah.
of course, here at Nonna Cappuccini's.
There's
But
coffee.
the coffee here, we've seen it, see what you're capable of. We even brought in the tribute mocha. We know you got one inside. We're going to take a look at.
Beautiful mocha.
Tell us a bit about how you have developed your life here in the UK with not just having a business, but the affiliation with Campania, Napoli, Benevento, and immersing yourself in and getting the culture into the kids as well.
Yeah, it's just nice to go back home and do that and be here, but it's always nice
Still
to
bring a bit of Italy with you.
Bring it back.
It's just lovely to go backwards and forwards, you know.
Is there any influence that you bring from over there into any of your food here, or maybe
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely, 100%. Every time you go there, you see something different. The little cicchetti, the little this, the arancini, all stuff like that, you know. It's just beautiful.
Cheers, by the way. Thanks for the coffee.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And so now the boys are running the show.
Yep.
Any chance of putting a massive screen up here every Sunday afternoon so we can watch the Napoli
We
games?
can arrange something.
I think we're going to do it for the World
Come to
Cup.
some sort of agreement.
Definitely.
That's not Napoli.
Come to an agreement with De Laurentiis. Over there.
Amazing.
And maybe instead of going to Castel del Sangro in the summer, you can bring the side to Sevenoaks.
Yeah, we'll get it here.
And so what is your goal now? You got bit more time now?
Yeah, just chilling out, spending more time in Italy, basically.
Oh, okay.
Love
So
to.
are you going to get to the Maradona?
Definitely.
Yeah, we're going to
Definitely.
see a couple of games this
definitely.
year.
I'd love to.
Definitely.
We went last time, but we didn't actually get to see a game, but we had a little tour.
Sometimes it's not about the game, it's just about being in Naples because it's an open air, it's a church.
So many little bars and restaurants around the
just
stadium.
beautiful.
You get the atmosphere anyway. The atmosphere just comes out of the stadium. It's just everywhere, yeah.
It's like a hip thing.
Yeah.
Comes to you, it's beautiful.
Any chance of a Maradona spritz here at Nonna
Yeah.
Oh my
Cappuccini's?
God, yeah.
The Napoli
Definitely.
spritz. When
Right.
I was out there a couple of years ago, that's what we had.
Back in the middle.
Okay, Claudio's off.
Yeah, we had it's like an Aperol spritz, but this blue in colour.
Yeah.
I don't know what was in it. It was just called a Napoli spritz, and it was everywhere. And it was, yeah.
Yeah, they love
Dangerous.
taking advantage of anything they can to sell a drink over there. And Emmett is over there now in Naples. He's going to see if we can bring back a couple of the four again
That'd be amazing.
kids for you guys. But he's saying how.
This one, I've got to get it.
Yeah,
I
the
love
coffee
that
one.
one.
It's on
I
the
love that
website.
one.
Napoli fans out there, go and get the coffee themed one. But he's going to see if he
That'll
can.
be good. That'll be like a new uniform.
That'd
Yeah.
be wicked.
Just wearing that.
What's this one from? It's the
This one is the last season's.
last season's McTominay, and because it's a little bit different to the one I've got. Actually,
one was the player.
I don't know whether this one was the player or
the fan. There
one.
is a fan version. Yeah. I think this is the fan one actually.
Oh, okay.
It's
This
got
might be the player one.
yeah. But obviously these ones here, that's the kit from 2023 when they won. 2025 when they won, and we'll see if this is one.
Oh,
And they might win again.
That just reminds me of Kvaratskhelia, though, and it's like that's him all over. Same as this kit.
That's his kit.
Just oozes Insigne. That's why I got him on the back.
And Mertens, that one.
Yeah.
And he was Callejon still there?
Callejon.
Might have been. And this,
he might have.
this one's also Osimhen. Just remember that iconic goals that he scored. The ones against Roma where he volleyed in.
What about when he needed controlled it over the player? That was just.
And have you guys got any history of kicking the ball about?
Francesco more than me.
We played a bit when he was younger. Always a Sunday 11-a-side, and then when I got a bit older and I was working Sundays, I started doing a 7-a-side on Thursday nights, just with cousins and families and friends. Brilliant, but
We've all been there. And how about yourself, Steph?
I played with Francesco sometimes at the 7-a-side, but it just got the distance. It was all the way in Streatham, and we moved a bit further away, and it was just a bit hard to get to every week.
So was it like Roberto and Lorenzo Insigne?
Is that the Cannavaro, bro?
Yeah, a bit more size than you.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Defensive?
I was defensive. He was more
I
midfield.
played right back and right wing all the time. Yeah, up and down the wing. But yeah, love playing football.
And so Antonio Conte, what do you think of him as a coach? You think he's...
For me, he's the best.
Okay.
He really is
Is that the difference between Napoli winning and losing last year?
I think so. His
yeah.
passion, he just matches Napoli. Like, Napoli is such a passionate place, and you see him on the touchline every game, just shouting and
crazy,
giving it his all.
He's got that southern, the vibrance and the passion, doesn't he? Because he's from Lecce.
Yeah, you've seen what he can do with Juventus.
It's just the way he turns clubs around, like how he trains them as well. Like, so many clubs are talking about the training of Conte. Like, it's just crazy.
He went to Chelsea and he'd done it.
Where was it?
He dominated.
Was it Tottenham, where he made all the players throw up. All the players.
He went to Spurs. Yeah,
Spurs,
I don't think they won anything when he was there.
No,
He made the
they
supporters
said
throw up as well, I think,
training
at
was
Tottenham.
just
But yeah,
that wasn't odd.
He just matches Napoli. I think best coach for us at the moment.
And now he's signed on long term, which is good. What's your best ever moment supporting Napoli? Is there anything, aside from this Scudetto here?
Yeah.
I'll give you a little while to think about it, and I'll come back.
A couple of years ago was.
Yeah,
but also I remember watching a game. Can't remember what year it was. It was when Insigne scored against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Halfway line.
Just like curled it around. The keeper was running back.
I think it was for 1-0 as well.
Oh yeah, that was the take.
That was unbelievable.
Against the top Real Madrid.
That's one
team
of my
that
best
time as
memories
well.
of Naples as well.
Yeah,
100%. But mine was probably when I wasn't alive, to be honest, because I've watched so many documentaries on Maradona, and
That's
that
a highlight.
Yeah,
moment.
my highlight of
more than a
it
memory.
was when Maradona went there and done what he done. It's just, that's like, I think that built Naples as a club, because that was just incredible.
they was a struggling.
They
team
were
back
like
then.
bottom of the league, just like finished.
He was a world record
And Maradona
signing
went
from
there, yeah.
Barcelona. It was just unbelievable. The whole thing is like it's not real.
Because that really reflects the ups and downs of Napoli as a club.
Of
Because
course.
they were a nothing club. He went there, and then all of a sudden they've got this world, popularity around the planet. They win the UEFA Cup, which is what the Europa League is now. But back then, it was only the champions that went into the Champions League, so the UEFA Cup was still a big tournament.
Huge thing.
And then from there, they obviously couldn't pay the debts off because I think it was about 12 million. The equivalent of 12 million euros to get him, so it sent the club bankrupt, and then they felt those repercussions for about 10 years. They went down to Serie B, went bankrupt, and then you see them come back up. But we wouldn't have the fandom of Napoli that we do today without him being there. He's like a god.
Yeah, he is a god.
He put the club on the map, sort of thing, really, for a lot of people. El Dios, yeah. D10, yeah.
When you walk around Napoli, especially the inner areas, Toledo and Spacca Napoli, he's everywhere. He is like the demigod of Naples. And
I mean, he's even with us right now. Honest.
Oh,
He's even with us right now.
Okay, let's take a look at these tats. Come on. Francesco's going to show us. Here we go, down the leg.
Unbelievable.
Okay, when did you get that done?
I got that done, I think it was 2 years before he passed away.
Okay.
Or the year before. I just felt like I wanted to get a Napoli tattoo, and nothing better than Maradona to represent Napoli, really. I was thinking of getting the badge, like one of those on here, but no one would see it. I'm always in shorts, so I thought I'd get Maradona on the leg.
How much is it going to...
For Maradona.
Oh, yeah. Okay, how much is it going to take to get the Destination Calcio logo tattooed? Right?
We'll see after today.
I mean,
Right.
Right here.
that tattoo's funny having it in a in England in a coffee
Yeah,
shop
it's
because
a-
it's 50-50 reviews.
controversial.
You get some people that come in and like, why you got him on your leg? Hand of God, this, that, the other. And then you got other people that
Yeah,
love
they-
Naples,
The British don't
and they,
like it.
and the people just love it.
I get a lot of people saying, "Why have you
But-
got that cheat on your leg?"
It's understandable, though.
Of course,
And I was in Udine last week, and back in the 80s when Serie A was sort of flourishing and Maradona joined, back then you could only have 2 or 3 foreign players, depending on what year you joined it. But then I think it was 2 or 3 with Maradona joining Napoli. Back then, Zico, who was the best midfielder in the world, Brazilian, joined Udinese, of all clubs, but every Italian club had amazing players. And so it was billed as the Zico versus Maradona derby, Brazil, Argentina, in Udine. I was at the stadium the other day and for the Super Cup where Tottenham and PSG played, and that is where he performed his first ever Hand of God. Well, it wasn't Hand of God. It was the year before the World Cup, but he got away with a handball, and that's where he first got away. And he's going, I can do that again.
Yeah.
And he saw the moment with Shilton. Yeah. So
But in the same game, he scored that other
Yeah,
goal.
won
It's
the
like
goal.
best ever World
Goal
Cup.
of
Yeah.
the century, yeah. Like,
that's,
We'll conveniently ignore that and just look.
yeah. No one mentions that one when he went round like 8 of England's
Yeah.
best ever players.
Yeah. I think Lineker was on the field for that game as well. So,
just crazy.
should we go inside and take a look around?
Let's go.
Let's go. Stefano, take us through what's behind the counter here.
So behind the counter is just a sign of our love for Naples. Every time we go to the airport, we just can't leave without getting a piece of memorabilia. So this is when we went in about 2016, when we flew into the airport, we grabbed one of these. This was actually the same year on our way out of the airport, and Francesco got that one himself.
Number
Just
4.
love acquiring a bit of memorabilia.
Francesco, over here, you got more.
And then here we've got the newspaper from when we won it this year. I've got a few different ones as well. I remember going a couple of years ago and getting in the queue. There was actually a queue to buy a newspaper. It was crazy in the morning. And yeah, obviously a little mocha pot. That just goes without saying.
And take us through some of the family stuff you've got in here. Show us.
This is my dad, Claudio, who you saw earlier, Francesco, Ricardo. I'm actually
Yeah.
not in this picture because I was off this day, and that's our uncle who used to work here. Yeah,
A
it's
couple
just
of
always been
Christmases
family.
ago. Obviously we got Maradona on the wall.
He's not just on your leg, he's on the wall.
He's on the wall as well. Iconic. Got Lillo on the wall as well. I might as well mention him. Lillo is like a family member in New York. Done a film with De Niro. My dad's cousin's cousin. Yeah.
Hollywood royalty.
Yeah, he's on the wall there. And then obviously that's us in the village. That's my nonna and the aunties. Yeah, we've got the celebrities up there, and then we've got a lot of family ones thrown in as well.
Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano,
Dean
yeah.
Martin, Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That there being very Italian with the
oh
photos,
yes, over there. Look at that. There could be extras on
with
the Sopranos.
with
This-
Stefano, yeah. Yeah.
I've chosen. I didn't choose the soup of the day side, even though I'm sure it's very good. But we've got Liga Potato, Hugo Spritz, Strega Spritz, which is a witch spritz, and the
witch
espresso
spritz,
martini. Does it
that's
make you fly? The Strega Spritz, by any chance?
It's not very popular, to be honest. Not a lot of people know about it around here, but
And the espresso martini, and that's well,
I think a Strega.
Popular drinks.
is it weekends?
Friday nights.
Just
Yeah.
pop that there. And so you're doing the aperitivo kind of feel here as well.
Yeah, we do Negroni.
Whenever people are ready, but the Friday nights is when they're when the
Cocktails all day long, and we're in England, so I bet they are all.
the sun's out. They are.
Last week we were selling gin and tonics at 10 in the morning. Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it. Okay, so let's talk about titles. Napoli won one last year, but so did Milan. Is there any chance of a dynasty back-to-back?
I feel like Naples could go straight for a back-to-back here, 100%. The way they're lined up, they're just.
Be the first one ever
I
for
feel
us.
like this is the one. If they're gonna do it, this is the one where they've had the best setup from the previous year.
Yeah.
Coming into it with like they're all
Players
high,
staying on
chippy.
and new players coming in.
Yeah, great new players like Kevin
Like
De Bruyne added into that team with Scott McTominay there.
We haven't lost anyone from that was like a winner last year, really.
They've all gone, haven't they? Kvaratskhelia left, so did Osimhen. Now the cash is there.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is it.
100%.
I think it's out of us or Inter. I still don't think Juventus are ready to win another title yet. They're still rebuilding.
If anyone's going to nick it off us, it's Inter Milan with
Yeah.
the setup and
Milan could do.
Martinez.
Milan could do some damage,
But
but
I spoke to some Milan fans recently, and they think that they have a chance of at least second or third because they don't have any European obligations like
Yeah.
Napoli last
Like
season. So I
us
think
lot.
everyone's trying to copy them now.
Yeah,
But the difference is Napoli had Conte.
yeah, and that makes the biggest difference.
Coppa Italia, is it a priority for you?
It's not a priority. I would rather them have the league and the Champions League rather than the Coppa Italia.
How does it go in terms of being a Napoli fan? Do you rate the Serie A title as more precious than the Champions League?
I wouldn't say it's more precious, but I think it's definitely on par.
What about if we went back to 2022 before they'd won the third
yeah,
title?
that's what I was going to say. Before we had won it again, it had been like 30-year wait. The Serie A was more important. Like I was just desperate to win that. But now that we've done two in 3 years, I'd like to see the Champions League now. I'd like to bring that back to Naples.
Would you prefer a back-to-back Scudetto or the Champions League? If I gave you that hypothetical 5 years ago.
If it was one or the other, they can only win a Champions League or a Scudetto.
Still Champions League.
I don't know. I would say back-to-back Scudettos
Yeah.
because I feel like that's more of a title. If they can go on a nice winning streak here, 2 or 3, I feel like that means more.
I wouldn't
than
say no to either of them.
Yeah,
It's a good position to be in when you
Yeah.
talk about Scudettos and Champions League and Coppa Italia. And look, I mean, at least these days, Napoli have no worries about getting relegated like back in the 90s.
No, I mean,
Like some of these kids we've got here, this one here, they were on the way out. They were Cugino kids.
96 or 7 or something that was, yeah.
And you know, this is the Maradona days, obviously. And then you fast forward from one Scudetto to number 4.
4 of them.
So 2 of them here. And what are you thinking of the current setup? There's so many unsung heroes in that side as well. And
Yeah.
I always think that people skim over Giovanni Di Lorenzo.
I love Di Lorenzo's
Best captain.
great.
Best captain you could ask for, I think. He's just brilliant.
And he's the only guy that's ever captained a Napoli side to a Serie A title since Maradona.
Yeah.
So
And he's
Maradona
got 2.
and him.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They've
2 each.
So he shares it.
Yeah, they've both got 2 each now. But Di Lorenzo's great. And he came up from a Serie B team, didn't he?
He was playing for down in
Not so long ago as well.
It was where they filmed the Bond film Matera. He was playing
Matera,
there.
yeah.
Really?
Then he went to Empoli in Serie B, and that's where he was noticed by Napoli and then brought over.
Yeah, and he's just blossomed.
Yeah.
That's one thing Napoli's always done, is been able to get players from these smaller clubs for bargain basement prices.
And then just turn them into like not superstars, but that level where they're ready to go. Sadly, we always let them go, like Insigne. I feel like
Even Zielinski, I was sad when he left.
Insigne stayed for he stayed for so long trying to get a Scudetto, and then he left.
Yeah, he was
Won
a
it
proper
for 4 years,
Napoli
never
boy.
won it again. Just feel like he shouldn't have gone to an area.
I think he's regretting that
Yeah,
going to Toronto.
100%. He was one of my favourite.
He even got
players.
dropped out of the national squad for that.
Well, they're saying he might come back. So
Yeah.
he could end up with another team. He doesn't have a club. He's terminated his contract.
Yeah,
there, so we'll see.
he's back in Italy, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's one of the Napoli icons.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
For me,
definitely.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
Oh, for many of you won't know, he's got a brother called Roberto. He's playing
Yeah.
for Avellino,
Yeah.
which is down the road not down the road, but about an hour inland from Naples, and he's going to be playing in Serie B this season. So that's always something to.
See how he does. Oh.
You're missing one Insigne, you get another. There go the kits, but luckily the coffee's still on the table.
We didn't lose the coffee.
And okay, so we'll wrap this up, guys. So overall, your aspirations for this season, because it's just kicking off now.
Yeah.
Are you intending to get over there as well? Your aspirations and your intention.
Definitely want to go and see a game because me personally, I haven't actually been to the stadium and watched a game. So that is definitely on this year to do list.
Yeah,
You
100%.
recommend more to other Brit-based Napoli fans?
Yeah, the atmosphere, you can't beat it. You've got to get out there and see a
See
game,
that.
for sure.
Because it's one thing watching it on the TV and being like a really passionate sport, but being in the stadium with all the other fans.
The atmosphere, the feeling's different, yeah.
And ambitions for the club, I would like to see a back-to-back Scudetto, like I said. That is just... And I want to see McTominay and De Bruyne link up in the midfield and be like a dream team. I want everyone to be talking about it.
It's ominous now. There's a dream midfield scenario. You got Anguissa, Lobotka.
Yeah.
Even you've got Gilmore.
Gilmore, yeah.
More as well.
He could be an important cog in the team, yeah, in the middle.
Him the maestro.
The maestro, yeah.
The maestro, aren't they?
I mean, I think Labocca's the maestro and Gilmore's probably the apprentice.
The
but-
Bocca's the engine, isn't he? Yeah. He's the workhorse, yeah. He's got that. I think we just signed Noah Lang as well, another left winger.
Bit of pace. He can play either side.
Yeah. Got Politano still on the right.
Neres is there.
Neres there. Yeah, we got a huge squad. Like probably one of the biggest squads we've had for swapping it around for Europe, for everything.
Absolutely.
If we're gonna do it, this is the year. Like Champions League. Yeah.
Chance for number 5 Scudetto and
Both of them.
had the Champions League.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, we're optimistic.
From a possible.
Okay, all right. Oh, well, it's a big ask, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
With Conte there, anything's possible.
With Conte now, I don't could just quote, but with Conte there, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And perhaps we'll be singing Sarò Conte at the end of the season again. And who knows? We could all be there to celebrate.
We'll be there together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think it's gonna happen. I
But
think it's gonna happen.
for now, we'll be coming. We're in Sevenoaks, Cappuccini right here
This is the place
with
to
Nonna
be.
Cappuccini
Yep.
and Stefano Francesco, and we're gonna get some coffees.
Naples in Zena.
Get some coffees here, and we're gonna maybe watch you guys working magic at the coffee machine now.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks, boys. Thanks for joining. Destination Culture here, Destination Nonna Cappuccini's.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See massive Napoli fans, and we'll leave it there.